Fernando. I'm going to hand over to him to give us an introduction as well shortly. I see we're still letting some people into the room. So just give them 1 second and then I'll hand over to Fernando. I see Lux is joining us as well. Got Nicoletta, David, Agnes, Wambui, Johannes. Welcome. So Fernando, shall I hand over to you to give a introduction?
Of course, Fran. Yes, thank you for welcoming everyone. So thank you, Fran, and hi everyone. Hello, colleagues. I am Fernando Hetiadra, founder of Ignite Global, and I think many of you know me. If not, welcome. Very wonderful to have you all here. As I'm talking to you, I'm also doing a little bit of technical work in the background. Okay, now we're all good. All right, so you are here because you intend to continue your professional development, grow, and create impact, value, and transformation in your client's life, be it individual clients or groups, organizations that you work with. So welcome. It's such a deep intention, such a great intention that you that you consider continuing to professionally develop. So we celebrate that intention with all of you. So as you begin today, as you are aware, this session focuses on your pathway, navigating your pathway to ICF PCC and ACTC through team coaching, right? So that's going to be the discussion, and my colleagues, those faculty members of this program, will be sharing a wealth of understanding around this topic. So what if I told you, as we begin, what if I told you that through one program, through one group and team coaching program, if you were able to approach 2 credentials, both PCC and ACTC credential. PCC, you are aware, Professional Certified Coach, and ACTC, Advanced Certification in Team Coaching. And what if I also told you this certification also provides you the possibility of gaining the Organizational Development Specialist designation, especially if you are a professional in the organizational context. Maybe you are doing facilitation, coaching, team coaching, providing certain consultancy. Would it be valuable for you to have, beyond the group and team coaching certification, would it be valuable for you to have Organizational Development Specialist designation, which is fully ICF accredited? So during this session today, you're going to find out how you can approach both PCC and ACTC credentials through one program. And at Ignite Global, as you're aware, we are a comprehensive coach-specific professional development partner, and we particularly focus on specializing in coaching profession. For an example, we have group and team coaching certification, we have trauma-informed executive and leadership certification, we have child, adolescent development and parenting certification, we have many trauma-informed certifications, we have psychedelic integration certification, and so on. So during this session today, you will learn how you would be able to approach both PCC and ACTC credential through one training. At the same time, how we can provide you a bundle of services for your credentialing processes as well. So each program at Ignite Global come with the credential bundle, which means whether you are applying for your ACC, PCC, or MCC, we can provide everything in one place through level certifications in order for you to become successful with your credentials. So this is a very brief introduction to what this session is about. So my colleagues, those who you will be meeting today are Ignite Global graduates, and also now they have developed, evolved. They are faculty members for this program. So they are going to discuss these aspects, how you can aim both PCC and ACC through one training. And feel free to ask questions, feel free to get involved, and make sure you clarify all your inquiries. So with that, I believe you have a bit of an understanding what Ignite Global is, who I am, and then also what this session is about. With that, I would like to hand over the session to Fran. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Fernando, and thank you everybody for joining us. Welcome. I've already given a brief introduction, but I'll just repeat it for everybody that's joined us. So my name is Fran, it's short for Francisca. I'm an ICF PCC accredited coach. I have an MBA in coaching, mentoring, and leadership. And I've worked on different continents, in different corporate environments, with many cultures and diverse group of people. And today, as Fernando has given us an introduction, I'm going to introduce, or the rest of the panel are going to introduce themselves to you. And we're going to talk to you about what team coaching is and how it builds on individual coaching. We're also going to tell you about which pathways there are with the ICF, if you want to go for the PCC, if you perhaps currently ACC, how the group and team coaching can move you towards that, or if you are interested in ACTC, what the requirements are and what you are needed to go for those credentials. You're free to ask any questions you want, type them in the chat. And at the end, we will also have a Q&A. But if a question comes up while we're talking, feel free to type it in the chat and we can address that for you. And perhaps you might want to type in the chat now. Why are you interested in team coaching? What is your interest in team coaching? We would love to hear from you what you expect to achieve from this session, what you'd like to learn. And I'd like to introduce my colleagues who are going to be on the panel with me today. And we have Gochi, she's right next to me. So I'd like to introduce Gochi. Over to you.
Thank you, Fran, and thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I hope you can all hear me well. My name is Ugochi Osai. I am part of the Ignite faculty. I'm also a former student of Ignite. I was trained by Ignite. I'm a PCC coach today. I'm a leadership coach. I operate in the leadership sphere, but I am an organizational development specialist. And all of that came from Ignite. So I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. So Ignite faculty is all over the world. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria, and I welcome you all for an amazing, amazing session today. Thank you for being here. Over to you, Ida.
Thank you, Gochi, and hello, everybody, and so nice to be here. And my name is Aida Aksteniene. I'm based in Vilnius, Lithuania. So yes, Gochi, we are all over the world, and we have much more to that. And today I'm also an ICF PCC coach, group and team coach as well, and Ignite Global faculty member. I was trained also by Ignite Global. I'm very proud and I'm very glad of that. So I work as an integrated growth coach in organizations, in groups, in individual coaching. My primarily focus is mindset, transition, mindset shifts, change, and I'm really curious to see how change becomes sustainable when people take ownership, not when they are influenced, when they are under pressure, let's say. So I'm very glad to be the part of this conversation, and I'm looking forward to co-create with you, looking for the answers. So let's have a chat here.
Thank you so much, Aida. Thank you. And I didn't say where I'm calling in from. I'm based in France, so it's really international. And you might have picked up my accent. I grew up in South Africa, so that's the picked up my accent. I see that Lux from Ignite. Lux, did you want to say something before we continue? Did you want to add something? I think he's frozen.
I don't think Lux can hear you.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to jump straight in. And what is team coaching? So teams are expected, nowadays, teams are expected to deliver more with less across different cultures, in different time zones, and deal with constant change. In the past, 10 A players, if we could call them A players, were considered to make an A team. But nowadays, individual excellence no longer is enough to make an excellent team, to make a proactive team. You know, with the volatile, we're working on Zoom, we're working across time zones, cultures, internationally. So it's much more diverse. So there is much more pressure on the team. And it's a unit value of a modern organization is no longer the individual, it is the team. And if I can quote David Clutterbuck, you may have heard of him, he's quite a well-known team coach. He says, team coaching is helping the team to become more than the sum of its parts. So it's really more about not just the individual, and it unlocks the collective intelligence of the group. And ICF defines team coaching as a partnership with a team as a single entity. And that's where team coaching comes in. The coach does not see 5 or 6 different individuals, different people, but the team is the client. It is one unit. That is your client. And team coaching is not team building, like having these games outside and competing against each other, doing obstacle courses. That's not team coaching. And team coaching is not training. You're not teaching anything. A high-performing team isn't one that just gets along. A coach team is courageous. They have courageous conversations necessary to serve its purpose. And they've moved from a focus to how we as the team can add value. And in individual coaching, we coach the person. In team coaching, we coach the space between the people. We coach in the shadows, the things that are unsaid, but they are felt. We are coaching the rhythms, how the team makes decisions and handles conflict. We coach the boundary, how the team interacts with other departments and other clients and everybody else. We're coaching the team as a unit. And the impact is a shift from codependence, instead of waiting for the leader, to interdependence. It's a shared leadership. So the coach is still, like in individual coaching, the reflective mirror, allowing the team to see its own patterns, both the ones that serve them well and the ones that are sabotaging them. So team coaching is a process of turning a collection of talented individuals into a single sentient organism, capable of navigating complexity. So when you coach a team, you are not just improving a department, you shift the culture, because you're moving from a culture of me to a culture of we. And that is basically, in a nutshell, what team coaching is all about. And perhaps one of my colleagues would like to add something.
Thank you, Fran. Indeed, I believe that the thing I would add here is about continuing deeper in team competencies, if I may, just briefly, of course, that you said it so explicitly and brilliantly, that like metaphorically, about what team coaching is alike. And I will add just only that it's not individual coaching with more people in the room, obviously. It's the collective system as one client. As an individual, we have one client, and we have a team as one client. So talking about team coaching competencies, they are grounded in the same core competencies as individual coaching. However, they build on and significantly expand the application. So it's not a separate set of competencies, but it's advanced developmental layer, as I might say, that where individual coaching is assumed. That means that you have to have this credentialing in good standing, ACTC, ACC, PCC, or MCC, to be a team coach for credentialing for ACTC. So as well, the team coaching competencies are built upon the individual competencies, upon individual 8 core competencies. And it was not so long ago, I believe 6 years ago, yes, in 2020, when ICF presented this framework of team competencies after a long research process, literature, survey, analysis. When they were really into it, ICF was, they had that primarily question: what does a coach actually needs to know, to do, and to be in order to coach teams effectively? So they had this as a beacon to design this framework of team coaching competencies, and they did release them. And I believe that they really add this expanded, advanced layer upon the individual core competencies. So they are not something new, not additional, but just expanded layer. So that's my elaboration on team coaching competencies. Maybe you would add from your perspective how you see them. Got your friend.
I'm good, Ida. We'll go with that for now because we're still going to get into that later. Thank you. Fran, you're
Fran is
muted.
muted.
Hello, colleagues. This is Fernando again while Fran is turning on her microphone. Please forgive me for not being able to open my camera. I'm out at the moment while my colleagues are taking care of this meeting so well. As there was the discussion around the definition and also the competency framework, these are very important baseline standards that we all need to ground ourselves to so that we can create a standard profession called team coaching. That's very important, right? Now, at the same time, something that I would like to bring to your attention is also, while we understand these very beautifully articulated sentences, how do we bring that to reality? Now, that's really the question, right? Like anyone can read and understand those really very well articulated sentences in ICF Core Competency Framework. And then how do we translate that into reality in a structured way as a standard professional practice? Now, that is the question, right? So when it comes to the learning journey, for an example, professional development, that's what you're really going to gain. How do we translate this well-articulated competency into reality? And that is very nuanced. That can be sometimes complex. Now, that is where the learning curves start to show up, right? With that, I will hand it over back to Fran.
Thank you so much, Fernando. Thank you for that addition. And that is true. How does this translate? How do we change everything, these beautiful words, into action? And we are going to continue exploring that today. And Gochi is going to tell us now what the key differences between group and team coaching is. Gochi, over to you.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you. We'll just kind of make this as simple and as succinct as possible so that it doesn't get too wide, because you're going to learn about all of this when you register for the program. What is the difference between group and team coaching? One of the first things that we said is that, I think Fran mentioned, is that group coaching, you're looking at a collection of individuals with similar dreams, desires, goals, and they've come together to co-create their individual journeys. So you're together, you're working on a goal, but each person is applying that journey, applies to where they want to go to. Now, when you talk about a team, you still have a collection of people, right? But the difference is, no, let me leave the difference for now. And they are working on one goal, not for them as an individual, but for the organization, for the team. So we go back to what we said before, and that is with group coaching, it is like I grow because I learn with others, because that in the group, you learn from the experience of others in the group with you. But in team coaching, we are growing together to attain a specific, a defined purpose, not my purpose. This purpose can be set by the organization, by the signature program that you signed up for, right? They determine what is going, where we're headed. So the team is an entity. So we see the bigger picture and we change how the system works. So we're not raising superstars within the team, but everybody comes and we collaborate, we co-create to make sure that the entire organization or system moves forward. That's why we call team coaching systemic coaching. It goes beyond the individual, beyond your desires. You just align with what the system, and you take into account what is happening outside of you as an individual. So I think that would be a short way of kind of differentiating the two. Now, what are the similarities? Group coaching, team coaching, basically the same process. I remember when we did our group and team coaching training, ICF hadn't even come up with a specific team coaching program. And I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, when the competencies and everything came up from ICF. It aligned precisely with what Ignite had been teaching. So you could say that Ignite was a trailblazer on this path. Now, similarities, there's still goal setting, you still have to have your agreement, you do your contracting. Everybody knows what the boundaries are, accountability, the whole gamut, right? What are our communication loops? How do we resolve conflict amongst us, whether it's group or team? How do we collaboratively develop action plans? And then you also encourage ownership among the members. So that a lot of similarities. Now, what are the differences? And that's where you get to crunch time. First of all, and this is something nobody must ever forget, is that the team is an entity. Whether they're 6 or 15, which is a large number, whether they're 15 or 12 or 10, to one client. Now, the group can have different clients, depending on what it is that you are pursuing there. Now, systemic growth coaching, and as it says systemic, is that the team now is thinking about how do we work to achieve the organizational goals? How does our activity or agreement or things we're doing, how will it impact the wider community? How will it affect the culture of our organization? So team coaching looks into all of these things. Who are your key stakeholders? Whatever you do there will impact them. That's why we're talking about the system. So the coach, in approaching team coaching, has to have all of that at the back of his or her mind as he moves into this area. We're not asking what do you want as an individual. We're saying how do you affect each other? The second thing is that team coaching, and not group coaching, has a person, a critical person that you call the co-coach or the sub-coach, according to ICF. Now, why do you need the co-coach? Who is not a lesser coach than you, but who is there to support you as the main coach to ensure that the group dynamics, whatever, because hey, you have 6, 8, 10 people in front of you. You're not going to be able to keep your eyes on everybody. Team coaching is about you, the coach, sitting and watching the dynamics between team members. Is there someone who has an overarching power over the others. Maybe the person talks and everybody else in the team is like, is there someone in the team who's not contributing? Now, your co-coach will be there. He or she may not need to speak, depending on the agreement between the coach, the main coach, and the co-coach. When do you put forward your observations? But you need someone else who can catch the things that you didn't see or you may have missed, who can point out to you that, hey, that person hasn't been talking much, or that person did that, or that person did that, right? So when you're a team coach, you're coaching, you're observing body language, team dynamics, all of that comes in. And I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Now, you're observing patterns, not really the problems. So you're not addressing a person's issues in isolation, but you're exploring the recurring group patterns and you're asking questions. Why is this? What, just how they relate, because if they don't trust each other, if there's no psychological safety, if they're not talking, if they're not bringing out what is on the inside of them, then you're not going to be able to change that group or to get that group to where they need to be. The second, I don't even know how many I've talked about now, whether it's second or third. So what have I said? You're coaching or you're observing the dynamics between the group. You're setting the timing. You determine the journey, the coach. And one of the things I love about team coaching is the fact that you can step in. In individual coaching, you can direct, you can bring them back to, hey, this is where we're headed to. This is what we said. This is what we agreed that we would achieve today. And it gives you that liberty. However, that does not mean that you impose your opinion on the group. You're not allowed to do that. You're even allowed to tell them, okay, don't discuss this, let's do that, except it was agreed upon by the group and it is in alignment with the organizational overarching goal. I'm sure we'll get into this a whole lot more. We've talked about the competencies. I think team coaching competencies are like about 29 or something like that. So it is I hate to use the word complicated, more complicated than the others, but it is something that is enriching. It is worth it. And as you practice, it becomes easier, right? So back to you, Fran.
Muted. Thank you so much, Gochi. Thank you for that insight. And I have seen that we had a question in the chat, which I'd like to quickly go to. It was a question from Agnes. In France, we say Agnes, and I'm not quite sure. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Who's based in East Africa, and the organizational culture is hierarchical rather than shared leadership. And she writes, I'm curious to learn about one, common challenges running team coaching compared to individual coaching sessions. So those are challenges that we do address during our program, during the group and team coaching program. But some of the common challenges are that there might be conflicts where the teams aren't agreeing or they're not in a common goal. And my colleagues mentioned earlier, trust and safety, where you've got the psychological trust and safety with the team. There are so many challenges in running a team coaching compared to individual coaching that you have to build on. It's a different dynamic, but at the same time, as we said before, you're not coaching individuals. It's the team is the client. It's one client. So you're coaching them as one client. just before we go on to point number 2, the Aida Gochi, would you like to add anything to what I've said?
Yeah, thank you, Fran, and thank you, Agnes, for the question. Indeed, such a question from practice. And as I reflect on my own practice, I would add in brief what I observe in team coaching comparing to individual coaching. So for me, the challenge, I would name maybe 3. So it's systemic awareness is needed in team coaching, and much more so this kind of skill or muscle we need to improve. Also, emotional regulation must be higher level. I am as a coach, as a team coach, this emotional regulation is, I noticed that I'm developing it also even quicker when coaching the teams. And professional maturity, let's say that's like that, as it really elevates coaching to some other level or expands the abilities, requires the abilities from me as a coach in much more expanded ways. So these are from my perspective, my reflective, the way I see it. So thank you again for the question and the opportunity for me to observe also what I noticed from my own practice. But I'm also curious, maybe Gochi has also something to add here.
Yeah, Agnes or Agnes, the first thing, yes, there's that hierarchical structure that you see in a lot of African organizations, but then that's where you come in as a coach. Before you get into actually coaching the teams, you would have made the organization understand what you're bringing to the table. So it is at the level of discussions and, before you get to the agreement and the contracting, that and the reason why sometimes we have problems in this is that they call the team coach in expecting you to even report on what your team is discussing and how they're feeling. You can't do that. So from the moments that you meet the organization, whether it is HR, whether it is at whatever level that you're brought in, they need to understand what team coaching is about. So it's not about hierarchy. When you also meet with the team, whether the manager is in or not, oftentimes we try to separate this, but if he has to be in there, your leadership of the session should be able to, after the first or second session, they should be able to know that, hey, there's no hierarchy here. You even can say it so that everybody knows that you have the right to speak. And then the agreements reached with your team members on how the team would run, and everybody signs up for it. No, someone is talking, you don't interrupt. You're not allowed to say, no, that doesn't make sense. Everyone respects everyone, doesn't matter what your hierarchy or your level is in the company. So the team, the coach getting into this environment, getting into the system, needs to make it clear what can or cannot happen, or what can be released or cannot be, or how the sessions are conducted. So when everybody comes in with this understanding and an agreement on this is what is permitted, gradually over time, you will see that will kind of, all of that will balance out. You may have some managers or leaders who still want to impose their opinion, but that's where you have the liberty to step in and say, okay, if the manager wants to speak all the time, you can choose not to allow him to speak. Or we haven't heard from B. Or C, would you like to add something to this? Over time, if the team members will build trust in you because of how you are conducting the session. I don't know if that answers your question, Agnes. logistical challenges of coordinating around a shared goal.
So Agnes has given you a heart, Gucci.
Oh, okay, fine. No,
that.
I just noticed that there was something about logistical challenges of coordinating around a shared goal.
I was actually going to say you've already answered the question number 2, which is fantastic. Thank you, Gucci. And if I may just add on there is that in the Ignite Global Group and Team Coaching Program, you are taught, we cover in the curriculum how to scope, the scoping, how important the scoping is, the initial steps before you even start coaching, that the contracting and the scoping, what is included, what is not included, who is included in the coaching contract, what is going to be disclosed, the privacy, the confidentiality, and as Gauthier has mentioned, the hierarchy, because in the team coaching, everybody is one unit. It's one unit. It's not individuals making up the team. So that is my addition. Aida, did you have something to add to that?
I believe, from that heart Agnes gave, I believe that we covered this question, and happy to hear your thoughts. I would add just one word, that dynamics is observed. So whenever you feel the dynamic is going high, low, or how to say sideways, you can present that observation to the team. Like, I noticed that is happening, and be open to solve what's happening together with the team, together with the manager, together as collective decisions. It's not the coach job to solve all the problems. The coach job is to present the situation, to observe and to see what's happening, to put it in, to drag it into the light, and then let's see what we can do with that.
If I may just say one last thing, Fran, very short. I guess don't worry. Before you actually even begin to practice all of that, Ignite will take you through sessions. By the time you step out of Ignite, all of these questions, all will be answered, and you will come out with confidence. All right? I just thought to add that because I was like this at the beginning, but I came out happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Gucci. And that actually, if I can add on to that, part of the Ignite program, what really was fantastic for me is that they have, we have the incubator. So once you've done this program, you actually get given not given, but you get access to a group, and you can practice your group coaching, and you can actually count those towards your hours if you want to go for the ACTC. So that is just something fantastic about this program. It's not just, you just don't just learn the theory, you have the opportunity to actually coach, and coach not people that are, a real group with a real goal to solve. Sorry, I'm I'm getting tongue-tied here today, so I think everybody's quite patient. Thank you for that. And that's one of the reasons I chose this program. I did it way back in 2022, so I did this program a long time ago, but it was one of those reasons. For the other opportunities that you can get, I was at ACC at the time. I did this program, group and team coaching. I thought, well, I'd like to go for PCC one day. Of course, now I have it. But to do this program, I could get those hours, those training hours to go for the PCC. But at the same time, group and team coaching, it's a new dynamic. It's a new notch in my belt, another competency that I can add. And it's one of the reasons I chose this program. And maybe Aida, you'd like to add to it. Why did you choose this program?
Of course, thank you, Fran, and please interrupt me because I would go on forever, because I really love Ignite, and there are a lot more reasons why I chose it. But to name the main, or if I would have to say now, what comes to my mind is because they over deliver. How to say, they make that extra mile, and they have this high level of professionalism. And now I'm saying I'm really thinking of me as also a faculty member, and I'm so proud of being this faculty member and being the part of this amazing community and amazing coaching school. And that's the main reason that they have everything. You, as a coach, you just think of something. It's an Ignite Global for sure, and very well structured. You want peer coaching, you want mocking exam for preparation, you want the classes, you want mentoring, extra mentoring, or how to say, like hours that would be enough for you to prepare. They have everything, and in a very high professional level. So that's probably why I'm so happy that I'm with Ignite.
Thank you, Aida. Gucci?
Yes, to just add, I'm not going to repeat everything they have said is true. But let me tell you my own story. I had gone to another coaching school, right? And I finished my level 1. And I didn't know what to do afterwards. I couldn't start the program. I was still lost. And someone mentioned Ignite to me. And I spoke to the CEO, Fernando, and he was so warm, so willing to help. 3-4 weeks into Ignite, I had it clear in my head. I think I came for the group and teams program, and then I did my PCC alongside. 3-4 weeks in, I knew I would be a group and teams coach. I just knew that this was where I wasn't even like, it was like, bye-bye one-to-one, hello group and teams, right? That was it for me, because it just gave you so much. And then the organizational development program sort of gave me the liberty, the leverage to create my own signature programs, have team coaching competencies, and just it was like, for me, a dream come true, right? Faculty, amazing. Incubator program, I could sit with people provided by Ignite. They were there in the group, right? And you could actually help them start off their own businesses. So professionally delivered coaching programs, a faculty that is really interested in seeing that you succeed. I remember my recording for the PCC. I had done the first one, and Fernando said, the second one, and then the third one, we were like in the middle of, and he said, Kochi, send this in. I sent it in, and I was still kind of shaky. Would I? And then I passed. And you see, your joy is not just yours alone. Everyone rejoices with you. So for me, I not only got professionally delivered courses, I got support. I got people who are genuinely interested in seeing you grow, in developing your business. And I also got how do I say it? You leave Ignite and you're still connected to Ignite. You're still connected to your cohort. You're still connected to people that you met in Ignite. So that for me is why I would say choose Ignite. Try it. It will work. Thank you.
Thank you, Gochi. Thank you for that. And also would like to add on to that is the PCC pathways, because that's the one that I did with the Ignite program. And that was part of this webinar, is how can you use, what is your pathway towards PCC? So I mentioned earlier about the training hours, and Aida can perhaps give a more overview of what are the requirements, the PCC requirements that the ICF require.
Yes, Fran, thank you for handing me this question. And I have in front of me the list of requirements, but I'm thinking we can go to ICF page and have a look at them. So I will be very brief in naming these requirements, but I want to look at them with a human lens, let's say. Like we all know that we have to that this pathway, PCC pathway, is designed not to be fast, comparing to ACC, for example, because we require 500 hours of coaching and 10 hours of mentorship, 125 hours of coach-specific education, final performance evaluation, which means that we have to record 2 coaching recordings for the evaluation of our mentor. And of course, we have to take the exam. So these are the formal requirements. But what's underneath them, I believe that why I was saying that this pathway is not designed to be fast, because it's designed to be formative. Along the way, we really change. And I can compare myself when I was aspiring ACC, and when I was learning in different coaching school for ACC, and then I started my pathway to PCC with Ignite Global. So I understood how much I changed as a coach, as Gochi mentioned earlier. How much confidence did it give to me, this pathway and this community and this coaching school, let's say. So this is my side of the story to PCC. And also one more thing I would like to emphasize, that this pathway that is designed with these requirements for coaching hours, for practice of 500 coaching sessions, is designed so that coach along the way, we understand that it's not so much about coaching technique, it's more about the presence. And it's not about collecting hours, it's more about gaining the coaching mindset, like mastering the coaching mindset. And it's more about having enough exposure to coaching thinking. So everything goes, what I'm saying now goes along the way with the formal requirements. And adding to that technical things, in Ignite we have really good preparation kit for PCC, very explicit with guidance, with exam mock test as well, which is needed to be mentioned separately because I believe it's one of the best mock tests so far in the market. So really prepares coaches for PCC to pass the exam in ICF exam. Maybe I think I mentioned more or less everything. So if you would like to add something from your own experience, I'd love to hear.
Thank you.
I think, Ida, if I come in, when we did those mock tests and then we did the real exam, people were like, hello. The Ignite mock tests were tougher than the real
Yeah.
exam. It was ridiculous. And we're like, hey, why'd you guys make us jump through the hoops, right? But I mean, that is what it is, right? The mock test that you have access to as a student in Ignite was actually tougher than when we faced the ICF test. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, it's a separate story about the test. And I was so thankful for that test. After I passed PCC, I saw it in different eyes, the test. I thought, oh my God, that was lifesaver. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Yes, so regarding the PCC, any questions? The chat is very quiet. Everybody's listening, and that's a good sign. But if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, or if you want to keep them for at the end of the session, that's also perfectly fine. But feel free to enter any questions into the chat that you might have. And now with the level 2 ICF, your recordings are assessed. You can take the bundle where you can have your recordings assessed through the program. It's all together to go for your PCC. So everything is under one roof. Also strictly adhering to those PCC markers to make sure that those recordings are passing. And to add there's a peer coaching opportunities. So you can find your peer coaches within Ignite Global. If you're looking for peer coaches to practice and to build up hours, it's all inclusive. So that's something else worth mentioning. And PCC exam insights. Did you have anything to add there, Gotchi?
Okay, yeah. I think the first thing to remember really is that the exam is testing your judgment. It's not memory. It's 45 question, 90-minute test, right? Multiple choice. And you're being tested on how a PCC coach thinks in the moment. So what that means is that it's scenario-based. So you need to be fast because you need to read the scenario and then go to the answers and say, okay, which one is the best answer? And a rule of thumb for every coach is your best answer is the answer that is client-centered, not a clever answer, not the one that the coach mentioned, right? It's you need to be very careful about that. The best answer is the client-centered answer. So what that means really is that they're asking you, there's no theory. They're not going to ask you to define coaching or anything like that, right? So you're being asked to choose the most PCC aligned response, not the one that's okay. And sometimes you have two answers that make sense that could pass. However, you now need to choose between those two answers, which one is more client-centered. Client-centered. Never forget that, right? All questions really map to the ICF core competencies in 2020, right? And usually 4 domains. There's the ethics and professional standards. There's the coaching mindset. What kind of mindset should the coach have? So when you get here, watch out for boundaries, right? Role clarity, self-management. Those are some of the things you watch out for. And then also a session for co-creating relationships, right? So agreements, establishing trust and safety, contracting, is the agenda clear? So you're reading these scenarios and you're thinking about, okay, agenda clarity, there's psychological safety. Can I see it in this? So what else? If there's an option that you see that looks profound, this sounds really good, right? But it removes the ownership from the client. It's wrong. Doesn't matter how profound or how good it is. Now, advice. The coach gave advice in one of the options. Even no matter how gentle, no matter how helpful the suggestion is, don't tick it, right? You're fixing, you're directing, you're educating. Don't mark that as right. That is a sure failure, like for the PCC exam. What else?
Ethics.
Yes.
Ethics is if it's overstrides ethics, it is
Yes.
the overarching thing.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah. So red flag words would be if you see someone, oh, advice, the coach advise the client, run. That's wrong. All right. So I suggest that you do this, run. Wrong answer. Let me explain this to you as a coach. Wrong answer, right? The coach is reframing for the client. There are often traps there. And there's only, in their scoring, there's only pass or fail. There's nothing like, oh, repeat this. You either pass at one sitting or you fail. They don't share your scores. ICF does not share your scores. They weight the questions internally. We don't get to see that. So why is it hard? Because 2 or 3 answers often sound reasonable. But out of them, we go back again, choose the most client-centered one. What's the last thing? Emotions are data and not detours at PCC level. So you're given a scenario where the coach completely misses out the emotions of the client. That's something that you should not take as right. Because the coach is supposed to acknowledge the emotions. Very, very critical. You invite exploration. So those are a few of the things that I remember about the tests. There's more, but I'm sure that as you get along, you will be able to sort this out, right? Thank you, friend.
Thank you so much, Gotchi. Thank you. Yes, I think we could have a whole separate webinar on the PCC exam because I think there's so much more even I could add right now, but in the interest of time, I think we're going to move along. If somebody has a question regarding that or something that we didn't cover, perhaps you could type that in the chat and we'll definitely attend to that. We have planned for an hour and a half, 110 minutes for this webinar. So if we just continue on, but if you need to know more about the PCC exam, we'll definitely answer those questions as we go along. But we do have a question from David in the chat. My ACC is expiring. Is this, no, that's Agnes.
We have 2
already
questions.
moved on. We've got 2 questions. It's gone faster than I've noticed, so my apologies. So David has said, on average, how long does the PCC plus ACTC coaching pathway take, and what are the main variables that can make it slower? So brilliant question. Thank you, David, for that question. So first of all, our next cohort for the ACTC is starting on the 31st of March, and it will run, it's every Tuesday at this time. Mark, I know that our clocks change. I don't know where you're situated, but it will be at this exact same time on a Tuesday for 3 hours, starting on the 31st of March. And the last session is on the 2nd of June, I believe. Just double check that.
Maybe Ida could put that up for us so they can see it at a glance.
23rd of June. Yes, thank you, Ahida. So that's the schedule for the live classes. So it's starting on the 31st. So that's for the formal training. And then the AC, you've got the 2 pathways you can choose, either the level 2 PCC or the ACTC. So it's of course also dependent on your coaching experience, because they both have different requirements. So for PCC, of course, the 500 hours, once you've got that, and then writing your exam. And the ACTC involves mentoring and as well as some practice hours. Aida, can you add to that, please?
Yeah, sure. I think, what do you think? Maybe we should still elaborate a little bit about how long does it take, the PCC and ACTC, because it may vary. It may vary from shorter time to the longer time, and it depends on where at the moment where you are at as a coach, as Franz said, are you an ACC coach? Are you pursuing PCC? And if you are pursuing PCC, so it's a double certification. It's not necessary, not you can go for only group and team coaching, or you can go for group and team coaching and PCC. So it's not mandatory to go for both of these certifications. So if you go for group and team coaching, after the classes, you have to fulfill the further requirements I will name in short. And if you go for PCC, so after the classes, you have to have the mentorship. And Ignite provides half a year of mentorship. So you are eligible for half a year to join mentorship classes, and after that you are fully prepared to take the exam. So you can choose your own path whenever you are already ready to start mentorship. You can ask for that, do it simultaneously with the classes, with the live classes. I've already showed the schedule, or you can start the mentorship after the classes. So if you start after, basically it takes 1 year, because classes are take less than half a year, yes, several months, and then half a year of mentorship. So more or less for me, it took about approximately a year to complete everything, with all the recordings, with the recording for ACTC, for PCC, and to take the exam. So roughly, I would say it's about a year, but it's the longer path. You can make it shorter. So I don't know, what was your experience, Fran and Gotchi? Did you make it faster, or it also was about a year?
So thank you for that, Aida. So with the PCC, I did it much slower. It was much slower for that. But you can, as you say, you can accelerate it when you're speaking about the ACTC. You can start the mentoring while you're doing the program, and your hours, your team coaching hours that you've already done can count towards the ACTC. PCC, of course, you count the hours from when you started your coach training. So if you've already got ACC and you've got your 100 hours and it's continuous until you have your 500 hours. And then with the bundle, you've got the, it goes much faster because the recordings are assessed. It's much faster in the level 2 program. The two recordings are now assessed through the program and not sent separately to the ICF, which takes much, much longer for those recordings to come back. So it is. Sorry, did somebody want to add something?
Yes, Fran, sorry, that's me, Fernando.
Yes.
May I please add something there?
Yes, of course.
All right, okay, colleagues, this is Fernando back again. I would like to, on top of some of the insights shared by my colleagues, I would like to also clarify some of the practicalities. So I see both David in your question, and also Agnes, your question, it's quite similar, I see. So I think when it comes to answering how long would it take for either of the credential, I think my colleagues very clearly explained it really depends on how quickly you are able to come up with the requirements for the credential. Now we understand that, right? So that is something not dependent on the program itself. So the program is delivered within 6 months, and the best advice I would give you is first, because you are already an experienced coach, you are applying for your PCC. As you complete the group and team coaching certification hour or the training hours, immediately focus on your PCC credential first, because you already have experience in individual coaching. So that means you will be either parallelly or one after the other, you will also be joining the mentoring program. So that way you also can sharpen your uh, ability to deliver PCC level coaching, right? So then you immediately focus on that. You create your 2 recordings and then you submit it to Ignite, because we can upgrade your certification from your previous certification provider, right? If you have done your ACC training somewhere else, that's perfectly all right. We can take that training, combine with this certification, upgrade your certification to level 2, right? So that way you can easily be able to take it in that sequence, go towards your PCC. And as you're preparing for the PCC, you can start applying the group coaching, team coaching techniques with maybe real world practice that you might be able to create. Or like my colleagues mentioned, we also have an incubator program. It's going to take a little bit of time for you to be able to really become habitual about how to deliver team coaching. Like it's almost you would remember when you started your individual coaching practice or learning journey, it took you some time to be able to integrate all the best practices, techniques, skills, listening, presence, embodiments, mindset. It took time. There was that time of learning curve. So you can expect a similar learning curve, but may not be as drastic as when you learned coaching methodology at the very beginning, because you already have that coaching mindset very strongly now. So this is about getting used to how to work with the group and team within team coaching, strictly within team coaching context. So I think while you're working for your PCC credential more focused, it gives you that time to sharpen your skills by applying group and team coaching skills in real world situations, right? Therefore, afterwards you can, once you complete your PCC with that good celebration, you can then focus on completing your ACTC, because like my team mentioned, it requires further requirements. For an example, the supervision hours, and then having completed 5 uh, team coaching engagements, and having completed and submitted one of the coaching recordings for the certification purposes. So you notice that it's going to take a little bit of time. So pacing it out after your PCC would give you the right, I think the right way of approaching it, let's say, while you're also managing your practice as a professional coach. So that's my advice. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Fernando. And Fernando,
Yes.
Pretty has another question that she says that she's, I see we've got some hearts from Agnes. Thank you, Agnes. She has a question. She says, if she has her PCC qualification and she only wants to do the ACTC coaching pathway, it's the same number of sessions that are attended. That's correct. That's part of the question. And then she's written, is the content in the live classes the same for only team coaching and PCC, or team coaching? Does it give me the level 2 in team coaching? I think that's the question. So the content, yes, is the same, Shruti, because it's a group and team coaching qualification. But does it give a level 2 in team coaching, Fernando?
All right. So, sorry, I'm still digesting the question a little bit. Please give me a
Sorry.
second.
Shall I
Yes, yes,
reread it?
Is easy team coaching pathways is the
Oh, yeah,
same
but
length of time and same sessions, and this content live classes. Oh, this is a great question, Shruti. It gives us the opportunity to explain to you how like if you notice, I started this session by saying today that this certification leads you to both PCC and ACTC credentials. So your question fundamentally is about this. So how we have enabled you to be able to use these training hours for both credentials is by not accrediting this program as a team coach specific program. What we did was strategically, we accredited this program as a level 2 program. When it is a level 2 program, if it is level 2 program hours, technically you can use those hours for your PCC. And then at the same time, if it is a group and team coaching program, it can also qualify for ACTC as the training hours. So we decided to play it strategically to make the advantage available to you so that you don't have to do 2 trainings. But at the same time, we are also very intentional and mindful about your development. So how we address, so you obviously understand that team coaching program focuses directly on team coach specific organizational development specialist focus competence. We don't go back to core competency in this program. So how do we enable you to grow as a PCC? Now, this is where our robust 6 months of mentoring program come in. You go through about 30 plus hours of group and individual mentoring through this program, where you are then able to, because you know that mentoring focuses directly on practicalities, application of ICF core competency. So through our mentoring program, we enable you to truly grow your core competency focused PCC development. At the same time, the team coaching program training focuses on your development as a group and team coach, if not organizational development specialist. So this is how we created this program very meticulously to enable you to use your resources in a wise way and being able to approach and access many advantages. So let's say it like that, right? So if you already have a PCC qualification, you would not be needing that mentoring component, for an example. So you will be doing the you will go through the group and team coach training, so the 12 sessions over 3 to 6 months program, and that will enable you to apply for your ACTC credential with the other requirements. So for an example, if you are already a PCC, then you are not required to attend the PCC focus mentoring hours. So you wouldn't need the credential bundle, which means you can only opt for just the group and team coach mastery certification component and use it towards the ACTC. So I hope I clarified, Shruti, your inquiry as well. All right, over to you, team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fernando. Thank you. Is there any other questions around that? I see everybody's stepping out, so a lot of people are dropping off. So we've covered the different pathways of the ACTC and the PCC. If there are any more questions outstanding regarding that, please feel free to add them in the chat. I see that Fernando has posted the link to the different programs that you can follow and have a look there. And if there are any questions of that, of course, any of us are here. Or
And someone, sorry to interrupt. Someone asked about pricing for the program. Maybe Ida could show us that.
Sure.
Yeah.
yes,
Someone asked for pricing.
I didn't see
Costs.
that. My apologies. And that is the link that Fernando has shared with us. So yes, I'm following the 2 credential pathways, and you can stack them. And that's the great thing about this program is you can do one or the other, or decide to do one and then follow it up with another with the other. and you get those coaching hours, the 65 accredited ICF accredited coaching hours when you do this group and team coaching program. And as you can see on the top there, we have a $100 early bird discount. You still have a lot of time to think about it and to join, but if you'd like to join now, that's a possibility. We also have 2 more webinars. If there are more questions coming up, free webinars coming up so that you can enroll for those and find out more about that. Yes, it's a fully accredited program. I think I've mentioned that a few times, and that it's a good program. If there are any more questions, please feel free. You're also welcome to unmute yourself and ask the question if you like. I see we've got a thank you so much from Shilpa. Thank you, Shilpa. Anybody else have questions? And as I say, you're welcome to type it in the chat or unmute yourself to check with us. Aida, Gucci, would you like to add something, some reflections?
Yeah, thank you, Fran. Time flies, yes, indeed, and we are already in the end of our conversation, and I want to add that we are not supposed to cover all the answers, I believe, in this particular conversation. However, when you are learning, when you are on your journey with Ignite Global, everything falls into places. We have an amazing platform. You can see in our backgrounds here, Fran and mine, Awaken Mind Guide, where all the comprehensive information is stored, and additional to live classes there we have a self-paced learning platform where a lot more is presented for the coaches to learn resources. Yes, please. There was a question, or am I mistaken? Someone was saying something. So
No, there was no question. It was just people saying thank you.
okay, great.
Amazing
Great.
insights. Yeah.
Agreed. So yeah, this is what I wanted to add. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to say thank you for, spending this time for us. If you still have any questions, reach out. Ignite.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I think Aruna wanted to say something and now they've disappeared. Sorry, I apologize for interrupting you, Gucci.
No, that's good. That's good. I'm just saying we're open. You can reach out. You can go to the website. If you still don't understand, believe me, any faculty, you can see the name, you can see the telephone numbers if you need to send a mail. Someone will definitely get back to you and answer whatever further inquiries you may have. But like we said, there's an early bird discount. The next I think cohort starts 31st of March, right? So this is the time to start registering for that. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Gucci, and thank you, Aida and Nando and Lux and Shruti.